Hello guys, welcome back. Today's van build during lockdown 2 is going to be slightly different because I'm just planning and mocking up the layout of the bed. And I'll show you that in a little while. However, before I get onto the bed, I'm going to just quickly talk about heating. And I've had a discussion with a chap in the comments quite a few times now about heating systems, and he put me onto the catalytic gas heaters, which have both fairly bulky units that take the gas bottles and slimline units, which don't tend to be as common in the UK. Now, I've got a diesel heater, an old diesel heater that I'm going to fit at some point very soon. I plan on fitting that underneath the driver's seat, and in the future I'd like to get it connected up to the main fuel tank. That's beyond me. And where I'm currently parked, I'll show you a clip, is on quite a slope, so I need to move onto the road to be able to get under the van and do some playing around, even if I just fit in just fitting the diesel heater and some of the pipework itself, even if I avoid the main tank and fit a small tank. However, going back to the catalytic gas heaters, now they're really effective. They're over 99% efficient at burning gas, unlike the old gas fires that we all used to use years and years ago, and some people still do, which are only about 50-60% efficient. And I'd love to have one mounted here with a gas bottle underneath this cupboard down there, because I'm going to have a unit in this corner. That would just be absolutely ideal. There would be enough space away from it. You need about 4 inches around it, and these units are this size and stick out about 8 centimeters. You have to beds there, you know, that's the tolerances that it asks for in spaces, opposed to the noisy diesel heater and also the mess. You know, in my last van I had a spill very early on in the diesel heater, or a little leak from one of the pipes, and I had to rip the floor up and start again basically, and it was a mess. I don't like diesel. Diesel's extremely smelly. I know there's downsides of gas as well and whatever, but I don't particularly like diesel in the van. And some of the setups I've seen with diesel tanks screwed onto the end of people's beds, that just doesn't appeal to me at all. So how I'm going to do my heating, I'm still undecided, and I'm planning on that. Anyway, let's get back to talking about this bed. So the diagonal bed, as most of you know, and you're looking forward to seeing it and whatever, I'm just going to mock up now. I'm just going to mock up with some loose pieces of wood. I'm not going to make it up. I've put that unit in the right place, and I will show you the shape of the bed I'm talking about and how practical that is. And then I need to plan on how I'm going to build that, where I'm going to put the support legs that are going to be in the middle and at each corner, each very end of the bed, and how I will layer that. And okay, let's get going. So you can see the bed there is about 1 meter wide, and it's obviously pointed at each end. And this end's slightly different, and this is where the problem I had because of the way the rear pillar of the vehicle comes in. But point to point across the middle of this 1 meter is 2.1 meters. It's 1 meter wide, and there's actually plenty of room. I actually tested by laying down on the floor yesterday in that gap, and it was absolutely fine. The markers on the floor there are where I'm planning on putting things under the bed. So I'll have one at a diagonal coming down to there, and one coming down here. So if I now step back, you see there's this huge area of a corner here, of which I'll have a shelf just slightly higher on the bed, and then a cupboard into the corner here, and plenty of storage underneath the bed. Up here is going to be a small cupboard across the top. It'll be quite slimline, it won't stick out too far, but that'll have my TV mounted and various other things. So the bed will come right up behind this door, and one of the things it's hard to measure for in advance is this massive gap here between the gap on the floor. It's a good 10 centimeters to the actual door, so I want to make sure I've got one piece of wood that comes down here and goes really close to that door and then round and across, because that way there'll be no weakness at the end here. If I had a nice sheet of wood that I could cut to this shape, great, but I don't. I have lots of smaller bits, and it's exactly, I'm planning now where to put the supports in the ground. I have got some pictures and I'm going to talk through those in a moment. From the other angle, gives actually a nice seating area, brings you really prominent here, although the seat will be very deep. I'm sure I can pad it with cushions at the back. Means you're sat right up against the sliding door when it's open, and the window when it's not. Opens up the space to this and to here, the swivel seat, so you should be able to access from there all this stuff, all the stuff at the back there, and that's quite a big section at the back. Doesn't look a great big space, but it is big enough, and it's far bigger than I had in the Kangoo. What this also allows is just better use of this space, because if this bed was to be running, if that unit was cut short, which it'd need to be to have a full length bed up and down there, then just the use of the space is, you know, if you have the gap like I've done before here, you're facing the wall, and then there's the temptation to fill it in to make the bed wider. It's the last thing you want to be doing is making it awkward to get in and out of bed. Now, if I was to sleep with my head at this end, I can easily just get my feet over and down onto the floor here, even if this bit is still shelved in level with this. Initially, I wanted to work out what sort of width the bed would be, so I used some of the maths I learned at school, but I can't remember what it's called, and measured the 69, made a right hand triangle, another 69, and then did some squaring and square roots, and it came up with the answer. This shows everything I measured to try and make planning easier. I measured the height as well, 139 in the centre, 131 at the sides. If I had one large sheet of ply, I could probably get away with these few supports, the one at the bottom, the one in the top right, and the one in the middle, as the only supports I'd use. Looking in through the side door, this is what you'd see: the unit straight ahead, then the shelf with the fridge below, and the loo hidden to the side of that. I went through the shed to see what wood was available. I really don't want to be forking out a load of money on ply. This confusing picture shows the use of 3 MDF boards running across, 1, 2, 3, and then some battening running up and down, and in the bottom left hand corner and the top right hand corner there's also battening supports. I'm going to attempt to build this tomorrow morning and hopefully show you some pictures of it in place tomorrow. Okay, so that's a look at the plans. I have got some CLS, and that tends to be a little bit twisted and whatever, but I should be able to do what I want to do with that. And it's the ply to go on top of it that's the most important. Anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for all your comments. Thanks for all your tips and advice. I've received so much over the last week or two. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much.